Let's dive right in. We wanted to talk to you about all the crazy things that have been happening in your life lately. Finishing up at Furman, racing NCAA outdoors, racing the Olympic trials, signing with Adidas, joining Team Boss. You're going to be moving to Boulder in a few weeks. Uh, how like overwhelmed and stressed out are you right now? Are you just like living life, going with the flow? Is it all, gumdrops and rainbows for you?
I think I always like to picture myself as like a person that like thrives just like living on the road and like living out of my suitcase. And normally I am that kind of person. I really like to do that. But just with so much at stake and like so much on the line in Eugene, I was like, I just am so overwhelmed with like, back-to-back championship races. My body was not feeling good as the days progressed. But yeah, like just like the looming question of like, okay, like where am I going to go? Like, who am I going to go with? Like, it was all I will say it was very overwhelming. I'd say like I had a lot of fun getting to meet everybody, but there's always going to be a lot of like stress thinking about like your next moves when there's like so many unknowns. But I think like once I finally got back here, I was like, okay, like A, I have a game plan, and B, like I'm back in like familiar territory where I could just like relax for a second. Like I'm using my home track right now for all the workouts that Joe's been sending me. And like my coach actually came out to the workout this morning and like just timed me. She was like, my watch still works. And so she had a fun time kind of coaching me through. But yeah, I would say it was overwhelming, but it was fun. Like I wouldn't trade the experience for the world. And, it definitely was like kind of hard to sleep some nights. Like, like whenever I stopped like racing, I was like, okay, like now I just need to make this decision. And I was just kind of like, just lots of phone calls. I'm like,
Yeah.
It was a lot of time on the phone and like a lot of time just like looking at papers and just, I never really had to do it before, but I'm glad that I had like the best group of people that helped me. Like my Furman coaches really helped me out, and so did Ray and his team. So wouldn't trade the experience, but I also don't really want to go through it anytime soon again.
Absolutely.
It's stressful.
So at least next time it'll be more isolated than like.
And I also will know what to expect. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you mentioned your old coach coming out to the track. So what does she think of the Joe Bossard's workout so far? Is she like, man, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing? Like these are terrible workouts.
Honestly, like she might incorporate some of the stuff into what the girls are doing. Like, like she asked me like, what's the rest between this rep? Like 5 minutes. I was like, no, 2 minutes. She was like, oh, all right. Like, and she's like, what are you getting down to? I was like like this. And she's like, oh my God, like, damn. Like, yeah, I know.
So do you have like a full month of training or so ahead of you, like already in logs, or is Joe more of like, he'll give you things week by week?
So far we've kind of been like week by week, just because I kind of took my time getting back to Greenville. I spent like about like a week out in Colorado Springs right after the trials. So we just kind of were upfront about like what my like plans were before I had like signed anything. Like I'd already had these like plans that had been standing. So he knew that I was going to be traveling a lot. So it's just kind of been like sending me workouts, and whenever it best fits my schedule, like I'll get it in, and we've been really good about that. So it's actually been very good not having to like stress about it too much, like forcing it on a certain day. I'm really appreciative of that, but like hard days, hard.
Yeah. You're obviously like even in college, you're a really high caliber athlete, but what has like the transition been hard so far to Mr. Joe's workouts? What's been like the difference?
I actually would say that for the most part, it's actually not been that different. I would just say the main difference is that like it's not even really a difference. It's just like me having to get back into like workout mode, because I, was racing for like a month. So I wasn't really doing any workouts. Like I only did one workout, like actual workout. And it was like very tapered when we were in Eugene. It was like the week between NCAAs and the trials. So yeah, just like getting back into that like long grind kind of mode instead of like being like, okay, like, I'm just going to go brace all out. It's like, I have to be like strategic and like, like not overrun things and, just be careful. Like I've been doing a lot of the workout, like almost all of the workouts that I've been doing, just this past year had been like kind of by myself. I maybe would like catch some of the girls on like different reps, or I would have like our assistant coach, Logan Roberts, come out and like do some faster stuff with me on the track. But for the most part, it was like pretty much by myself. And so I've been pretty used to doing a lot of stuff by myself. But I think like once I finally get to Boulder, it'll be a lot of fun to like finally have people there to like, like push me and stuff. So like so far it's been really a seamless transition, but I know as soon as altitude gets into the equation, it'll just talk to me in like a month. I'm sure I'll have a different answer, but as of right now, sea level training has been great. So
yeah, it seems like you've been super consistent, like going back to high school and winning, I think 43 state titles, I believe, if that's right.
Number right, yeah.
And then
obviously, how does that math work?
Because team titles.
No, so
not team titles. Okay.
No, so well, some of them like maybe like the 4x4 or whatever. Where, like,
right.
But so Louisiana had a rule like. I started running in 2008 and they changed it maybe in like 2012 or something like that. But before the rule changed, like you could run varsity at any like age, as long as your school was like K through 12, like all under the same like school principal. So I went to like a really small private school. And so we had like a kindergarten through 12th grade, like all under one principal. So, I was able to start at a really young age. So I basically started in 5th grade and ran 8 years in high school. So basically went through high school twice on the running scene. And I would like quadruple almost all of my like outdoor state meets and like double and like some indoor state meets and stuff like that. So it just became kind of like just like a fun thing.
Yeah, just casual.
I would always try to run really hard because like I got to the point where I like really try to want to like focus on state records. So I would try and like aim for a couple every year, whether I got them or not. Like I was still always like happy. But it became more fun as like we got like a bigger like team where we could do like a 4x4 and stuff. Those are always my favorite. Getting to like win a gold medal with other people.
Going back to like this past season at Furman, like when did you start having discussions like around going pro and like start talking to brands, start talking to teams? How long did that process take? And what came first? Was it like Adidas first or the team first, team boss? Like how did that all play out?
So
it's probably a really long story and we are here for it. So if you want to give it.
I'll try to summarize it as easily as I can. So I kind of, and I think I speak for a lot of my fellow 2020 graduates when I say that at least the people that were maybe like qualified to go to indoor nationals, like we kind of were usually conversations start to happen around indoor nationals, I would say, of your senior year, if you're really looking at going professional and you've got a lot of good times on the board. So I was in Albuquerque when COVID hit at nationals, and I had my first conversation like about going pro there. So I kind of knew that the door was already open, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to take a 5th year at first because there were just so many uncertainties. So I had like called a couple of teams and brands, but it was nothing ever too serious because I was upfront about them, telling them like, hey, like I really think that I'm going to stay a 5th year. I'm just like waiting to like finalize like for the school to approve and stuff like that. So yeah, it was kind of like casual conversation for a long time. And it continued being like pretty casual up until like, I'd say probably around February was when conversations really started to happen. And then March, like after like my first like outdoor race at Raleigh, like that's when, they were like, okay, like she's finally eligible again. Like she's starting to race again. Like these are like her actual events. So I would say it was like very slowly and then just all at once.
Okay.
I would say like I thought that I had like very good ideas about what I was going to be considering going into like traveling to Eugene. But as soon as NCAA's hit, like I found myself with a few more offers than I'd expected. And so it just kind of like reset the board a little bit. And like, I was just like, okay, well, like I want to give everything like my best consideration because like, you never know like what's going to happen. And I just, the Adidas offer came through and it was very appealing to me because it was, I could train anywhere that I wanted. And I felt like I owed it to myself to kind of just be like, well, it's kind of like that saying, like you are like the people that you hang out with the most or whatever. Like, so I was just like, well, like, I was a little disappointed about my trials, prelim. And so I was just like, like, I don't want this to happen again. Like, I just really want to go all in. I've been feeling this way, this entire year. And I've always like said like, oh, like team boss would be like my pipe dream. But like, I realized, like I have connections to possibly make it possible. Like, so I was like, well, it wouldn't hurt to reach out. And I reached out and they were so sweet and accepting. And I was like, this is it then. Like,
it's like, I'm moving to Boulder.
Like, this is like my dream come true kind of thing. Yeah. And I love Boulder. And, it was, like I said, very slowly. And then all at once, like this was all within like 3 or 4 days of each other. Like it was a lot of phone calls and kind of overwhelming, but
so as team boss, did you only talk to them during your 5th year or did you have some sort of connections? Like you mentioned in those casual conversations from your senior year?
So when I was in Boulder last year, like last summer visiting during COVID, I did actually meet with Aisha, at a coffee shop, just to kind of like say hi and like get a feel for the team. And, but yeah, it was all very casual and actually like Corey McGee grew up like 30 minutes down the road from where I grew up. And we watched each other like compete at AAU meets in New Orleans all the time. And I watched her just like smoke people. So like when she found out, she's like, oh my gosh, like I watched you when you were like 9 years old. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. And of course, like Furman alum Trip Hurt is also involved with the team as well. So I definitely have I had like some pretty good like connections. I'd say like not like best friends, but definitely like acquaintances, like going in that I felt comfortable enough. And like, I knew like the vibe of the team enough that like, I felt like I could trust my gut and like know that it was going to be like the right place.
So was that then the initial decision before other offers came in?
No, that was actually like, I was like, well, I have these offers. I just felt like I was like, okay, I'm going to regret it if I don't at least ask. So it was actually like a very like, okay, like I've always wanted this. Like I could go like more comfortable route, or I could really just try and put myself out there. And like, it'll probably pay off. So, I just decided to do that. Like, I felt bad because I think that they all knew that I was on a time crunch. So I was like waiting for an answer, like whether they would have me or not. So it was definitely like kind of like, sorry, like I know this is like stressful for everybody, but you can let me know. But I would not say that it was a last minute decision. I would say that it was just kind of me finally working up the courage to ask about something that I've always dreamt of doing. And just like really making sure that I gave myself the shot and I covered every corner that I could, left no stone unturned. So, and it just happened to pay off really well.
And we don't even need like a shoot your shot segment. That's it.
Did it.
So yeah, talk a little bit more about like the draw to Team Boss and why it was such a, like, it was way up, like beyond number one. It was like, even if I get an offer, like I'm obviously taking it.
Yeah. So I think like, I think that maybe like a lot of people are like intimidated because they're such fast runners. I mean, I definitely felt that way. That's why I waited to reach out. But I think that they really, I mean, they're a strong group of people that are just working towards these amazing goals that, you know, I want to be working with people that have seen where I want to go, and can help guide me and get me there. I think like I've heard from multiple people and I've experienced it firsthand. Like, Joe and Emma are extremely generous and sweet people, and they would always, you know, be in my corner. So that was just one thing to just be like, wow, like this person, you know, they're at the top of the world, but they still care about developing young athletes, like myself and like, you know, whoever else they bring on in the future. So, I just thought that that really spoke volumes to me, and that like, it's a group of people that want to be there. They're not tied like monetarily to it. Like, it's like, they genuinely care about each other and they want to be there, and, they work hard for themselves, for each other. Like, and they make big things happen. And, yeah, I just love that, because it reminds me a lot of the Furman girl gang. Yeah, so I loved that, and yeah, it just seems like an awesome environment to be a part of, and I can't wait to get out to Boulder. I've been like texting, I've been like on their group chat, and like they did like a group FaceTime the other day, and I was like, oh, like, like I just like want to meet everybody in person finally.
For sure.
So.
You mentioned with like one of the big draws for Adidas was that you could be wherever you want and train wherever you want. So with the like the other offers, then was there always like a team tied to the brand deal? Is that how it's typically structured, or were there other brands you could have gone with where it was like kind of a similar story where you could have picked whatever group you wanted?
I would say for the most part, at least from my experience, I think a lot of teams I'd say like a lot of teams are like specifically tied to brands. I would say like, I mean, I didn't really, it depends on like if you get like an individual offer from like a brand or not, whether they like grant you the permission to like go wherever you want. So, yeah, you can either pick a team that's affiliated with a brand, or if you're good enough and get an individual contract, you can like kind of do your own thing and like pick your own coach and like choose where you want to live and stuff like that. So, Adidas just like happened to offer that, really, just like unique opportunity. So I was like, well, like, I mean, I could have just like moved back to Greenville and had like Coach Gary coach me. Like, it could have been, you know, it could have been anything. So, definitely felt like I would have had like a lot of really unique options to go that way.
For sure. So how would you describe your negotiating skills? Are you kind of like more of a bad cop, more of a good cop? How did you play it all out? Were you like saying like, oh, like this other offer I got, it's 1.5 mil per year. Like I need 2 mil to go to this offer. Okay. Like how did this all play out?
I mean, my advice would be to hire somebody who does it all for you. So I mean, Ray Flynn did a very good job, keeping everything organized and moving quickly. So I never really had to worry about any of like the money aspects of it. I just had to, my main focus was just like meeting the coaches and like learning about the team and like the coaching philosophies and like training, what's the word I'm looking for? Like their training schedules and stuff like that. And like the areas that they live. So I was not as much worried about the money per se. It's kind of more fun that way. To just like not have to worry about that.
You got a guy for that. You don't have to worry about it yourself.